So I don't use trekking poles when I'm hiking, and that's like, I don't know, maybe 15,000 miles of hiking without trekking poles. I've tried them here and there, certainly. I remember 2019 I tried them, 2018 I tried them. I keep trying them, but I still don't use them, which is kind of crazy to me because as I've learned, about 90% of other thru hikers do use trekking poles when they're out hiking. You know, it seems like most people have them, but I didn't know the number was that high. So then, if everyone uses them, why don't I use them? Before we get into that, I want to talk about the benefits of trekking poles and why they are so extremely popular. What are you gaining by using them? So first up, probably the biggest reason everyone ever should use trekking poles is that they help to prevent injury. There have been multiple scientific studies that show this to be true. One study has shown that trekking poles absorb more than 4% of the force that your body otherwise would be taking, which may not sound like much, just 4%, but over the course of many days or many hundreds of thousands of steps, that really adds up to a lot. Another study has shown that poles reduce the risk of injury in the knees, the calves, the thighs, and the hips. And a third study shows that trekking poles help to reduce pressure in the metatarsal area of the foot by up to 40%. Now, I'll link all these studies down in the video description below for you to check them out yourselves, but I think one thing is extremely clear, that trekking poles help to prevent injury, and in some very, very big ways. Especially so when going downhill, where your knees and your joints are taking the most amount of force. Trekking poles really, really help. So when it comes to a multi-week or multi-month thru hike where you are just fighting off the odds of getting injured, trekking pole users have a massive advantage. Now, another big benefit of using trekking poles is that most modern tents these days require poles to set them up. So if you're trying to cut some weight from your pack, a trekking pole tent is a great way to do that, as you don't have to carry tent-specific poles. You can just use the poles that you're already using to hike. I personally use trekking pole tents quite frequently and will very, very much so recommend them to others, as they are extremely lightweight and they are extremely easy to set up. No finagling and messing around with like crazy tent poles that every single day you have to fix them all together. You just use your trekking poles, which are extremely easy to use. Now, my third reason as to why trekking poles are great is that they help to add stability. When traveling on snow, when crossing a river, when hiking through mud, or when walking on loose rocks, poles help to add stability, balance, and safety on uneven or sketchy terrain. This is a huge benefit that can help to prevent slips and falls, which, depending on the situation, depending on the problem, the terrain, could literally be life-saving by just carrying a trekking pole. And this is one case where I personally will use trekking poles. As you've seen in many of my other videos, I will use poles for added stability on snow, as the consequence of falling could literally be fatal otherwise. So poles are super great for safety on more difficult trails or in adverse conditions. Now, my fourth reason for why you should use trekking poles is you can twirl them in the air while you hike, or you can play some air guitar while you hike, and both of those things are super fun. Now, my fifth reason is that trekking poles allow you to hike faster with a more normal stride, and all with less effort. So maybe you're trying to race a storm or get to town. Maybe you're trying to keep up with other hikers. Or maybe you want to make more miles in a day. Trekking poles will allow you to do all of that easier. I've always said that I hike slow compared to many other people, and maybe that's because I don't use trekking poles. So if you want to hike faster, if you want to make more miles in a day, then trekking poles are the answer. My sixth reason comes from another study, and it says that when hiking uphill, trekking poles will delay fatigue and overall will make hiking feel easier. Now, I know a lot of people really agonize over a big climb that is coming up, so maybe it's good to know that your trekking poles are working for you. Or maybe if hiking uphill isn't your favorite thing, maybe you should try out some trekking poles. I know that we all would like hiking to feel easier, and with trekking poles, that really is a reality. All right, so clearly trekking poles are incredible. And even beyond what I just mentioned, there's so many other smaller benefits and smaller ways to use them to your advantage. So again, probably everyone hiking should use them. They make hiking easier, they allow you to hike faster, they prevent injury. There's so many reasons to use them. So then, why don't I use them? I get this question a lot. I mean, I've shared the vast majority of my hiking on this channel through these videos, and I think naturally a lot of people see me without them and they think that there is some secret that they are missing. I've tried them on so many hikes in the past and I still just don't really care for using them. I go out to backpack and I love the freedom. I love having an extremely minimal kit. I love feeling totally unencumbered. I like feeling that I am just out on a walk in the park, hands free, body free, just blowing in the wind. So I guess my point here is that you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to use the perfect gear. You don't have to do what everyone else is doing. So I think you should just do whatever you enjoy most, so long as you're being safe and so long as you're accepting any risk that you might be taking. So in my case, I accept the risk that I'm taking by not using poles because I love the minimalist aspect of backpacking so much, which surely will sound stupid to many of you. You're probably already leaving some comment about that, but that's the beauty of backpacking. That there's so many different ways to go about it. There's so many different options for gear to use that you could spend an arm and a leg and buy the most perfect kit ever, or you could do things your way and have fun. So that said, after reading all these studies, after thinking about this topic a lot more, I'm probably going to give trekking poles a much nicer shot into the future here. As I continue to age, I will surely wind up transitioning to using trekking poles full time in the future. Just knowing all these benefits and sharing these benefits with you guys, you know, it's clear that trekking poles really do make a big difference. But for now, I'm just gonna do what makes me happy, and I think that is okay. So anyway, I think that you should use trekking poles, but that is why I don't. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a little thumbs up. If you aren't already subscribed to this channel, please do so. I have some really great hikes planned for this year that I think you're gonna enjoy. So that's all for now. I hope to catch you in the next video coming up soon. Thanks for watching.